Separating from a partner can be stressful and difficult, but the choices you make during the breakup could have a big impact on the final outcome. Joining us now with some tips on what to do when separating is family lawyer Stuart Zuckerman. Good morning, Stuart. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Separating can be a very difficult time, and the last thing you want to do is make rash decisions. What are some things that you definitely do not want to do?
Well, I have seen a lot of bad decisions that people made that backfired in court later on following their separation. So some don'ts would be, if your spouse tells you that they want to separate or they want you to move out, don't stop paying household bills that you would normally pay, or like the hydro or internet or mortgage, until you've got a lawyer to negotiate those issues on your behalf. If you just stop what you normally paid until separation, judges will be upset with you if you, when those issues are brought up in court, if you cut off the dependent spouse, you look bad, and unilateral actions, which may save you a small amount of money in the short run, could end up costing you much more in legal fees and bad court orders in the long run.
What if your spouse asks you to move out? Are you obligated to do so? And if not, should you move out?
This is one of the most common questions that we get, and the advice of all family law lawyers is don't move out of the family home until you have a written agreement in place concerning its sale, its division, the sharing of household costs like the mortgage payments, etc., until it's sold, a parenting plan for the children. If you move out before you have any of those things written into an agreement, that can greatly prejudice your position, both with respect to care of the children and with respect to getting the house sold and how to deal with the ongoing costs and parenting issues. So it's not a good idea. Unless, of course, if there's violence and you need to protect yourself or the children, that's a different situation. But generally speaking, you should not move out till you have an agreement.
And of course, keeping the children's well-being in mind is of utmost concern. What about when it comes to the kids? Is there anything that we should or shouldn't be doing to manage the parenting?
Yeah, well, unless there is a real risk of harm to the children, it's very inappropriate for a spouse, even if that spouse was the primary caretaker, to take unilateral actions like keeping the children and refusing to let the other parent see the children. I've had many, many cases where, for example, the mother says to me, "Oh, well, he cheated on me, so I can't trust him. Everything he says is a lie. Therefore, I can't let him have the children." Or you have a father say, "Oh, my wife is an alcoholic, or she smokes marijuana daily. I can't let her have the children." And judges will say, if your spouse was good enough to have responsibility for the children in the months that led up to the separation, while smoking or drinking or doing marijuana or whatever, or while cheating for that matter, then they're still good enough to continue to parent after the separation and continue to have the same level of childcare responsibility that they had prior to the separation.
I am betting that it would be really tempting for a lot of people, especially if they are continuing to live in the same home, to set up nanny cameras or smartphones to record any ongoings in the house. Do you have any warnings when it comes to that?
Yeah, well, anybody who's been watching the Johnny Depp trial should have learned this lesson, and that is don't say or do anything to your spouse or to others that you would not want a judge to see or hear on tape. Spouses often do record conversations. They can just turn on the recorder on their phone and you wouldn't know it, or like you said, have a nanny cam, and they're just hoping that their ex will say something stupid or make a threat or do something unreasonable that can later be used against them in court. And that includes don't text or post stupid things on social media about your spouse or about yourself that you wouldn't want a judge to see or read. I can't tell you how many cases I've had where I've used text posts or recordings to damage the opposing party's credibility and or to convince a judge to help my client against someone who's a bully. These things always come back and bite you. The best advice is take a breath. If you want to or you need to, you can write out your text or write out your proposed post in draft form, but wait 24 hours, look at it the next day, and think, how would a judge view this post or text if there was a court case down the road before you consider posting it.
Stuart Zuckerman from Zuckerman Law, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really good advice. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.